Whether we are aware of this or not, what happens is that the relationships that we have in our life are usually defined in a certain way. So maybe you're talking to somebody and at some point, whether consciously or unconsciously, you put this person in the category of a friend, or maybe a romantic partnership, or maybe a business mentor, or maybe just a teacher or a mentor, or whatever this person is to you in your life. What I notice is that when we can, right from the get-go, understand how we want a relationship to be and define it in a way that's in alignment with how we want the relationship to be, what's going to start to happen is you're going to have a much easier time living your life, because you're going to have to never deal with not understanding why a relationship is not going the way that you want. And you're not going to have to deal with trying to be something in a relationship that you never wanted to be in the first place, or getting frustrated because somebody else is not showing up in the relationship in the way that you expected them to be, but it was never communicated, right? This is a big problem that I personally had in my life until I learned this skill set of defining the relationship. Now, it's not to put the relationship and who we truly are in too much of a container to dishonor the spiritual side of who we truly are. But at the end of the day, though, we're still going to be playing roles in life, whether we realize it or not. You can be conscious of who you truly are, but there's still going to be roles that are at play here. And then when we can consciously see these roles play out, we can actually save us a lot of time and energy. And I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to define relationships and never be lost in your relationships ever again. Never be in this space where you don't know what's happening. Never not understand what's happening in a relationship ever again. And just always have this clear awareness of the way the relationship is. And this is going to honor not only you and what you want, but also that person and the way that they're showing up in your life as well, to honor both parties. So this is going to create, like I always talk about in my videos, what I call the win-win dynamic. And so that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally and apply for a free consultation, hit the link that's in the description box of this video. Also, I do have a group program coming up in the next couple of months. So if you want more details on the program, or if you want to be a part of the program, the link will be in the description box of the video for that as well. Enrollment is closing soon and the program is starting soon. So if you want to be part of it, definitely check out the link that's in the description box of this video. Now, the first thing I want you to understand is that understand what roles you and the person are playing in the relationship. Because this understanding of how you're showing up in the relationship, and also how that person is showing up in the relationship that you're in, whatever kind of relationship it is, it's going to allow you to really have a much better experience in your life, and for them as well. I'll give you a perfect example. This is the lack of understanding what roles we play in a relationship is why people get in what society calls the friend zone, for example, with certain people in their life. They wanted a romantic relationship the whole time, but they never spoke about it. They never communicated about it. And sometimes a lot of people don't even realize that they're falling into the role of a friend, and that person perceives them as a friend the whole time. They've never consciously decided, hey, this relationship is something that I want. For example, this is just one example. I want this to be a romantic relationship. They never defined it in that way. And they thought in their minds like, oh yeah, it's going to be romantic, it's good. No, but the whole time They actually unconsciously defined the relationship as just friend to friend. Maybe you have a business mentor and you don't realize that in some moments that person is just a mentor to you. They are in the role of a teacher. And so it's good to maybe at least for that moment, allow that person to play the role of the mentor. Like they can't be your romantic partner in that moment. Maybe that role is going to be on offer later. For example, if you want to be in a romantic relationship with one of your mentors, not saying that doesn't happen, but sometimes, for example, if that person is mentoring you to bring romance into it, it'll break the container of the role. And this might sound like it goes against spirituality and allowing your full authentic self to be the formless consciousness that you are. But what I'm realizing more in my life is that no matter how spiritual you become, you're still going to be playing some kind of a role in your life. Whether you want to attach to that role or not attach to that role is when the consciousness comes in. But now it's not who we truly are. It's not like who you truly are at the core is the friend or the mentor or whatever label we want. Like, these are all just labels. It's not who we truly are. But at the same time though, as a separate human being, from that relative human perspective, that is really important to honor on the spiritual journey as well, and on the journey of life. It's important to also be conscious of the fact that what we need to be aware of is we're still going to be playing roles, whether we see it or don't see it or don't agree with it. Like, what's going to happen is either the relationship is going to happen unconsciously and it's just going to go with whatever patterns your ego comes up with, or you're going to consciously decide how you want the relationship to go. So it's not like, oh, Francis, I don't want to do this. I'd rather just let the universal consciousness take over and not have any containers in this relationship. That's beautiful. And I invite you to come from that space of formless consciousness and never attach to any labels as who you truly are. But even with that being said, the relationship is still going to happen, and there's still going to be roles that you are playing. Not that you are that role, but you're going to be playing that role. And so when we can understand, the first step, if I didn't make it clear, is to understand what role you're playing. For example, let's say somebody tries to come at you for romance and a romantic relationship, but you know from the get-go that you don't want to be in a relationship romantically with this person. What you can do is you can define the relationship on your terms and use your voice and say, hey, actually, I can sense that you want to step into the role of, a romantic partner, but I'm not capable of being that for you right now. And you can speak on that. You can say, hey, the only role that I'm willing to play is a friend. That's the role that I'm willing to play for you right now. Maybe a mentor down the line or something like that. But honestly, romance is that's just an example. Like, you could say that. You could just say how you want the relationship to be. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, what this is about, understanding the role that you play in your relationships, is about understanding that you have the power to create the relationships that you want on your terms, the way that you want the relationship to be. This is honestly one of the biggest things that I've learned in regards to how to create my reality in the way that I want. Not in some woo-woo spiritual way, but in a very tangible, hey, this is the way I want the relationship to be. And it's super spiritual too as well, because I'm actually really conscious of the fact that we play these roles whether we're aware of it or not. Now, to be attached to the roles where the ego comes in, but you can, in a very healthy way, in a very spiritual way that doesn't contradict spirituality, in fact supports spirituality, play certain roles and be conscious of the roles that you're playing. And ask yourself this is the second step to this video. Ask yourself, Are you okay with the roles that you are playing in your life right now? Maybe somebody wants you to be a certain way. They want you to play a certain role. Maybe they want you to be a friend. Maybe they want you to be a romantic partner. Whatever the case is, are you totally comfortable with the roles that you've taken on? And did you choose those roles, or did somebody unconsciously place expectations on you that you needed to play those roles? That's the question to ask ourselves here. Because what you can do is you can redefine the role you prefer to play instead, and you can let people know as well that the only way you're going to show up in that person's reality, if they're going to be a part of, like if you're going to allow that person to be in your reality, say, hey, I'm only going to be this way, and I would love for you to be this way. Can we make this happen? And either they're going to say yes, and they're going to be in alignment with the way you want the relationship to be, or they tell you no, and that is okay as well. And the reason that's okay, and the reason why this is totally fine, is because if that person never had an intention of being the way that you wanted them to be, then that was never something you should have attached to in your mind anyways. This is where the friend zone thing comes in. If that person doesn't have the capability to be a romantic partner, if they don't, at least at that point in their life, if they don't have a desire to be a romantic partner for you, if you don't have, it's like, hey, you could say, hey, I can sense that you want me to be a romantic partner. I'm not quite okay with that. Is that what you're doing? And they say, yeah, actually I wanted to be a romantic partner with you, but I was too scared to say it. Yeah, sorry, I can't be for you like that. Boom, you just saved yourself potential 6 months of wasted energy and time, kind of half playing the role but not saying it out loud, living a lie. Does that sound familiar? Where you're kind of half living somebody else's life and you don't really know what's going on, you don't really understand what's going on in the relationship, and there's no clear communications. All this is coming from is a lack of consciousness and a lack of truth, and also a lack of tangible skill sets that have to do with communication as well. So ask yourself, are you okay to play the role that you're playing? Is that person playing the role that you want them to play in your life? Ask yourself, am I playing the role that I want to play in this relationship? And are they playing the role that I want them to play in the relationship? Not in a manipulative way, but in a way where you can say and ask them, literally ask. Surprise. You can ask people, do you want to play this, be this way in my reality? You're asking for permission. You're defining it on your terms, but you're leaving it up to them, because you can't really control how they want to be, but you can control how you want to be and what you communicate in the way that you want to show up in the relationship. And so the third final step, after you're aware that, you know, what roles you're playing, you ask yourself, what roles am I playing? What roles are they playing? The third step to this process is to be completely upfront with how you want the roles to be, how you want the relationship to be, what kind of relationship you would like to see happen with you and this person, whether that be you and that person become friends, you're a friend, they're a friend, or you're both in a romantic partnership or a spiritual partnership if you want to go that route. Since you're following this channel, I'm sure maybe a lot of you watching this would love to have a spiritual partnership. Ask for it if you think the person is open to it. And even if you think they're not, why not go for the risk anyways? But again, you follow your intuition and feel into what you want that person to be for you, and ask them if they're willing to do that. But you have to trust in your intuition here a little bit as well. But the third step is to be upfront about how you want the relationship to be, and to be non-attached to the outcome. Now, of course, trust in your intuition on when it's time to define the relationship. You can feel things out and not put things into a container too quickly. But I noticed that sooner than later, it's always a good idea to just be completely upfront and say, hey, just be upfront. Hey, I would like this kind of a relationship with you. Are you cool with that? Is that okay with you? Are you willing to have this kind of a relationship with me? The person says yes, you're good to go. You can literally ask, use your voice, and communicate the way you want the relationship to be. And that's how you use your voice to speak your reality into existence. This is as tangible as the law of attraction gets. You can use your voice to literally speak your reality into existence by asking the person, this is what I would like from you. Are you cool with that? You know, I would love to be in a romantic relationship with you. I would love to get to know you more. You know, I'm not really comfortable being a friend, but I would love to be in a romantic relationship with you. Hey, maybe you are comfortable being a friend and you also are comfortable in being in a romantic relationship. Maybe it's one or the other. Ask. Use your voice. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. The moment that I was not afraid anymore in my life to ask for what I want unapologetically, respecting people's boundaries, of course, respecting people's free will, of course, honoring people's perspective and what roles they want to play, of course, but then asking for what you want, asking for the way you want the relationship to be. And this is going to honor both you and them, because like I always say, two things are going to happen. Either yes, they can show up and be the way that you would prefer them to be in your reality, and vice versa, because they probably want you to. And it's not to put you into this container, it has to be like that forever, or to limit you to the limitless being that you are, but it's to have some ground in the relationship. Otherwise, you're going to feel too ungrounded, and the relationship is going to feel very unclear. You're going to feel like the analogy I always use with myself and my clients and the people in my life is, you're going to feel like a flying bag in the wind. Like you're just like flowing around and you don't know what's happening, and there's no communication in the relation. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like you're secure. You don't feel like you understand what's happening in this relationship. And it's like, well, Francis, what happened to no labels and be comfortable to not knowing? Sure, that's beautiful. And that's what I teach. But at the same time though, what I've noticed is that there's such a high level of peace that can happen when you're free to have no labels within a certain container of rules. You see what I'm saying? Masculine energy is just as spiritual as the feminine. And the more that we can ground into the masculine, the more opportunity you also have to be feminine. The more that you clearly define the relationship that you have, the more space you have to feel safe to be your true, authentic self with no labels within the boundary of the way that relationship was defined. And this is the yin and yang of life. You can pretend to just be no self all the time, but the reality is you're still going to be playing a role, and there's still going to be a very masculine, physical, tangible component to this life, whether we are conscious of it or not. Like I say, it's going to happen. The relationships are going to move forward. The question is, are you going to consciously define them, or are you going to let the ego unconsciously play out patterns and make the relationship go in a way that you consciously would not decide for yourself if you were able to have the skill set and the awareness and consciousness? So to conclude this video, understand that when you're upfront about the way you want the relationship to be, you ask for the romantic partnership, or you say, hey, I don't want to be in a romantic relationship with you. I can only be a friend for you at this time, right now in this moment. That could change later. You could say that even, but at least for right now, I'm only interested in being a friend. What you do, and you also want to do this from a non-attached place. And the reason why you don't want to be attached to the outcome is because, of course, like I always say, trust your intuition, be upfront when you feel that it's time. Don't do it right away because Francis said it. Use a little bit of your intuition here, and when it's time to be upfront, because you can sense when it's time to do this in a relationship and you think things are not quite going in the direction that you prefer them to be going. But the reason you want to be non-attached as well, just to conclude this video, is because when you're non-attached, the reason you're not attached is because, again, whatever happens is always going to be in your both best interests. It's going to be in your best interest, and it's going to be in their best interest. Because if you're not consciously asking for the way you want the relationship to be, and then you are a friend when you never wanted to be a friend, and they put you into that role unconsciously to play that character that you never wanted to play, you're now playing a role that you never wanted to play. You're now living a lie. And they are being dishonored too, because they never learned how to respect other people's boundaries and how to be in union with somebody within somebody's, what's acceptable to them in their life and the boundaries that they have. And so you can save a lot of time and hassle. When somebody's trying to be in a romantic relationship with you, for example, and you never wanted to do that in the first place, and you never had an intention, or at least for now, it's not something that you're interested in, when you could just communicate to that and be upfront, what's gonna happen is you're doing that person a favor. You're doing that person a favor. That person could be wasting all their time dreaming this fantasy that they're gonna be in a romantic relationship with you when you don't even want to be in one. That's doing that person a huge disservice. Do them the service of being upfront. And you can apply this to somebody that's trying to be in a relationship with you in a way. It doesn't have to be romantic. Maybe somebody wants to be your friend or whatever, or they want to hang out with you. You could reverse this. And maybe somebody wants to be your friend and you're not interested in that, but maybe you want to be friends with someone and they're not interested in that. So you could ask them, hey, is it cool with you if we're friends? Or there's probably a better way to ask that. You could say, I would like this. Is this something that you are willing to take on? And are you willing to be in that kind of relationship with me? Be upfront. Be upfront whether it's somebody trying to put you in a role or whether it's you wanting to be in a kind of relationship with somebody. Believe me, when this really sinks in, if you really get this video, when I learned this, my life completely changed. This allowed me to redefine the relationships in my life that were unconsciously defined by my ego and other people's ego for me. This completely changed my life. This allowed me to step into a space of personal empowerment that I never thought was possible because I wasn't conscious of the fact that I could just ask for what I want in my life in regards to the way that my relationships are in my life. And believe me, when this sinks in, your life is going to change. You are going to notice a shift, and you're going to start to notice that you have more say in the way that you want your relationships to be. Now, of course, you can't control people at the core. They have their own free will, but you can do a lot in your power to increase the probability of what you want happening and communicate what you would like to happen and use your voice to manifest your reality into existence. So I want you to really let this video sink in and let me know in the comments below if this impacts you in a positive way, because I truly mean it, that this completely changed my life in a way that will forever change the relationships in my life for the rest of my life. So that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Also, I do have a group program coming up once again in the next couple of months. So if you want more details on the program, if you want to be a part of the program, enrollment is closing soon. So if you want to be a part of it, definitely check out the link that's in the description box of this video for more details on that as well. That'll be in the description box of the video. As always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.